Hey guys, how's it going? And today I have a replay for you featuring Fullen in his tier 10 German battleship, the Kurfurst, the one that I'm still not going to pronounce the first name of it because nobody really can agree on how it's pronounced in English. But he's on the north map, and we're going to see exactly how this battleship can cut a path through the enemy team without exactly charging in and YOLO suiciding. Enemy Grober Kurfurst down... I just tried to pronounce that first name, didn't I? Enemy Grober Kurfurst, I do believe it said, since I said Grober the first time. Downrange. Dropped a pot shot at him, but... just a normal penetration, nothing major. But he is providing overwatch for the Shimakaze that is actually reversing into the cap circle. Now that may sound weird at first, but it's actually kind of a smart idea if you do it right. I mean, if you reverse from your starting point, you're obviously never going to get there. But what he's doing is he's basically angling his ship so any torpedoes don't catch him broadside, and he's also leaving himself a very good avenue of escape in case he does get spotted. And Shimikazes also have 4 guns in the rear versus their 1 gun in the front, so he's actually putting a lot of his firepower in towards the enemy basically. So he's actually doing a pretty smart, a bit weird of a move there. Now Fullen has just spotted a Shimikaze in the C cap, which he's approaching. Launches his main batteries that way, secondaries go off, and he's really going to focus this guy down and be wary of him because destroyers are probably the Kurfurst's biggest threat. Now the Kurfurst does have a special sonar that has extra long range, and the secondaries do have a long range and are very high velocity and very accurate with manual secondary control. But the Kurfurst does not have a torpedo belt, and it doesn't have a great one, I should say. And it's also a very, very massive battleship, the biggest one in the game so far. And it does not turn well. So it's a very, very juicy target for any destroyers. And they're basically the most threatening thing to this, other than maybe a cruiser at long range spamming high explosive. And he's kind of pushing into the cap. He's trying to get the Yugamo on his team to spot the Shimikaze so he can try to finish it off. But he also has to be wary because there's another Kurfurst on the other side of this island on the enemy team pushing up to try to engage him. There's also a Hindenburg and a Montana in the D cap that are pressuring his team over there. So right now he's keeping his guns towards where that Shimikaze was last spotted, and he's kind of scraping along the edge of this island to try to avoid any torpedoes and force that Shimikaze to come out if he wants to get a good spread of torpedoes at him. Which he has spotted, but it's not really the Shimikaze that's the threat right now. It's this Kurfurst on the other side of him, as the Shimikaze doesn't seem keen on coming out from behind that island. The question of the day is, when will that Shimikaze make his move? Oh, there he is. And it looks like he's heading towards the D cap. Fullen secondaries are going off, but they're basically just going to chase that poor Japanese destroyer out of the C cap and, you know, get him out of here. Fullen does launch a shot at him, is rewarded with 1 full penetration, 1 over penetration, dealing about 5,000 damage to that enemy Shimikaze. But now he's got bigger problems with that Kurfurst down in front of him, lighting him on fire with his secondaries. But the Kurfurst has made an error. He didn't know his ship's turn radius and has now run himself aground. So Fullen turns his ship a little bit more broadside to engage this guy, letting his secondaries open up to their fullest extent, and is actually awarded with a citadel. These German battleships have a turtleback armor scheme, and it's really rare to get a citadel on him, and Fullen just scored one, so that kind of shows his luck in this game so far. You can also see that Fullen is changing his speed to dodge shells, and he's actually turning his ship more broadside. And that's okay to do with these German battleships because they actually have a pretty good armor belt on the side of their ship, which helps them when it comes to taking shots in the side armor. This Yugamo did just fire, and he's actually moving closer to this enemy Kurfurst, which is not good for him because it looks like that Kurfurst is switching fire to the Yugamo, and it's going to punish that little destroyer for getting spotted. But that also gives Fullen an option to actually go more broadside and get more guns on target. Also dodging those torpedoes at the same time. And it lets him, you know, sink this guy faster. And as he launches that shot, there he goes. He will claim his first kill on the enemy Kurfurst. And with that Citadel, I'd say he's pretty lucky this game. So let's see how that luck holds out over the course of this whole battle. Looks like the Montana is coming around the corner on the decap, pressuring the remaining allied ships over there. Will he come around broadside? I'd say that's a pretty good target right there. Will Fullen shots hit though? German battleships' main batteries don't have amazing accuracy. And it looks like that rears its ugly head there, as Fullen only scores about 5,000 damage on that enemy Montana. Secondaries are opening up, and that Montana is figuring out that German battleships actually do have a long secondary range as Fullen takes the cap. So basically just kind of chasing that Montana around out of the cap. Fullen gets one good shot in on him right here. Will it deal decent damage? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. 20,000 damage to the side of that Montana, but it is a tier 10 battleship, so it has the health to spare. The question is, will that Hindenburg come around though? That's Fullen's real threat over there other than the Shimakaze, because the Hindenburg is also a very good brawler, and it has, I think, 8 torpedoes per side, so it's pretty deadly to a Kurfurst if it gets up close. But Fullen's kind of loitering around over here trying to find a new target to get a shot at. But surprisingly, the Hindenburg starts advancing. And that Hindenburg is going to come around at the wrong angle, just like the Montana did. I don't know if he just didn't notice the Montana taking a bunch of damage, but he's going to come around the corner, inside Fullen's secondary range, and broadside. So there's a fire on him. Fullen empties a salvo downrange at the Hindenburg and is awarded with a Citadel. 13,500 damage, punishing that Hindenburg for coming around at that sort of angle. And you can see that Hindenburg starting to reverse and getting the hell out of dodge to get away from this tier 10 German battleship that is suddenly firing on him. But it does look like Fullen's going to reload before this Hindenburg gets into cover. Shots out, looks like a really good angle. Will it sink him though? German battleship RNG rears its ugly head again, and Fullen is only awarded with 2 overpenetrations, dealing about 2,000 damage. So that Hindenburg's going to live to fight another day, and we're definitely going to see more of him in the coming future. Though he did start to turn out, so Fullen is going to get another shot on him, surprisingly. It's going to be kind of in the dark though. But Fullen doesn't have a lot of time to pay attention to that shot because an enemy Fletcher has just come around behind Fullen. And that is not good news because, like I said, destroyers are your worst enemy in this thing. And that Fletcher is definitely one with decent torpedoes. The Khabarov behind the Fletcher, not so much. But that Fletcher is really the main issue here. And Fullen is completely focusing the secondaries on him. Launches a full salvo of main battery shells on him. And oh, there's a good hit on him for 12,000 damage. Looks like the Fletcher has missed both both torpedo salvos, and he is out of here. He wants nothing to do with this German battleship. But the Shimakaze just got spotted coming around the corner. The Khabarov is pushing into the cap. So the Shimakaze is the threat here, and he's trying to charge down the Kurfurst. Fullen puts his secondaries on him, starts tearing him apart. Drops a full salvo of shells for 5,000 damage. Secondaries continue to rip into the Shimakaze, and there he goes. Close quarters expert, Shimakaze down. Now the Khabarov is still in secondary range. Fullen switches secondaries to that and aims his main batteries at the Fletcher. And there goes the cab, collapsing under the weight of these German secondaries. Ooh, Fletcher just disappeared. Fullen drops the shots anyway. Probably not going to hit though, because that is a agile little destroyer. And yeah, no damage there. But Fullen is pushing towards D with a friendly Shimakaze beside him. And he's going to come around this corner. And where is that Montana and the Hindenburg? is the question. Well, there's the Hindenburg, and that is not a good position for him to be in for Fullen, because he is within 6 kilometers, and there are the torpedoes. All 8 of them to be exact. And Fullen does the right thing here. Doesn't panic, he doesn't slow down. He turns out slightly to go broadside to the torpedoes and actually outruns them, so that he doesn't have to waste, I was going to say he doesn't have to waste damage control, but it looks like he used that to repair his main battery, which leaves him with no damage control party if he gets set on fire or starts flooding from a torpedo, because that Hindenburg still has 8 more to spare. There's the Hindenburg coming around. He's swinging the other side of his ship around to try to get the other torpedoes off. Fullen slams 12,000 damage into him, sets the secondaries to sick him, and there he goes. Another close quarters expert taking out the Hindenburg. But where are the torpedoes? He must have gotten all 8 off. Montana's backing around the corner. There's 4 torpedoes. Fullen's going to turn in to dodge those, and there's the other 4 right in front of Fullen. He's going to have to speed up. He's going to have to crawl right along the side of the island, but lucky for him, this Montana's made a mistake. He's reversing around the side of the island, going broadside, and he's trying to deal damage through Fullen's bow, which has only managed to knock out one of his guns. It really hasn't done anything to Fullen. He's not going to outtrade Fullen, or he's not going to outtrade the Kurfurst in this position. Will this salvo do it? There's 2 citadels on the Montana. Secondaries are ripping him apart. Fullen goes broadside, but he has the ability to do this because it's really hard to citadel these German battleships, and Fullen has the armor belt to deal with the shells. He also has a lot more health than this poor Montana that has kind of figured out that he's made a mistake here. And Fullen's just ripping this guy apart, and goodbye, Mr. Montana, earning Fullen his Kraken Unleashed along with his high caliber, thanks to that broadside that the Montana presented. And now all that's left is this North Carolina, and yeah, he's just getting chased around the map at this point. He's been launching shells at Fullen this whole game from long range, and it doesn't look like he feels like using his armor at all, because he's just going to be broadside. Looks like those shells went a little short, and only dealt about 3,000 damage to him. But the secondaries are just ripping this guy apart, continuously putting fires on him and continuously dealing damage. Fullen's turning broadside to try to get more guns on target, but of course one of his guns has been temporarily taken out, and that salvo is going to go really far behind his ship. But the second one is going to slam him for 5,000 damage, earning Fullen his Confederate Award. Secondaries continuing to go off, and this guy just seems oblivious to where his armor is, because he's continuously staying broadside to a Kurfurst, which is a battleship that's 2 tiers higher than him. And he also is completely unawares of these these torpedoes that are coming towards him. And yeah, he's going to eat one of those, and Fullen's secondaries are just going to tear him apart, giving Fullen his 4th close quarters expert to go with his high caliber, his Kraken Unleashed, his Confederate Award, and he did earn a Dreadnought this game. Sadly, I can't show you that because when I pulled up the pictures, they were kind of blurry. I think that might have been my computer's fault, but I can easily tell you that Fullen finished first on his team with 280,000 damage. Sorry, I had a brain fart there, and 6 kills. So he absolutely crushed this enemy team, showing us the sheer power of the tier 10 German battleship, as long as you don't YOLO suicide into a bunch of ships with torpedoes. So yeah, great job to Fullen. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and good luck out there. I'll see you guys next time.